on Twitter, JD, you got a question from one of our followers asking who was the toughest DN you've ever had to block. And Jarrad, I want to ask you the same. Who was the toughest tight end you ever had to guard during a game or cover? So floor is yours, guys.
Wow. Okay. So that, and I said, man, that's a great question. That's a tough question. Because when I tell you, man, when I go through like the who's who of defensive ends and outside linebackers, I mean, we're talking about a 12-year career dealing with guys. And I'm talking about and I'll go through some just Reggie White, Bruce Smith, like I said, the whole Bills defense, Kevin Green, Greg Lloyd, to the new guys, Trevor Price, let me see, Sean Merriman, Sean Phillips. I mean, you're talking about, oh my gosh. I mean, I could just go on and on. Charles Haley. I mean, Michael Strahan. The whole defense. I'm talking like that whole era of guys, and I'm talking about guys that are in. Like, if you start looking at the top defensive ends that's ever played in the game, that's in the Hall of Fame, I probably have more than the majority of those guys I blocked. Let me put it that way. Okay, so. That's tough, man. That's a hard question to really answer. But I will say this. What was always hard is when they took the defensive tackles and try to push them out there to the 5 or 9 every once in a while. Now, that's always the hard part. Every time we got those headbangers, man, like Eric Swan. Eric Swan was one of them. I don't know if y'all remember Eric Swan, man, for Arizona Cardinals. Okay, he was back in the day. Eric Swan didn't play he didn't play college football. And he was a prop, comes in, ends up playing like a small, football, whatever, league or something like that, making $50. Well, they go and get him. He gets drafted, comes in, signs the biggest contract with the Arizona Cardinals at the time. And man, he was a heavy load. So man, saying that, man, it was really tough. But I will say this. This is one story. I'm going to tell this real good story. So we're playing, I don't know if I told this or not, but we're playing Pittsburgh Steelers, right? I got Kevin Green and Greg Lloyd, okay, on either side of me. So I go from one side to the left to the next, and I got Greg Lloyd in front of me. Now, Greg Lloyd is not really a big guy, okay, but he was always muscles, big dude. He was like an 8th degree black belt. And I remember we was going through the cadence. So when you go through the cadence, you can kind of hear everything out there because, everything's on point. So I remember they was going through the cadence like, down, set, and I heard Greg Lloyd go, like in a karate stance. I'm sitting there like, oh shit, like in my mind, I'm like, this sucker's about to throw like a right cross in my throat or something like that. But he got in that karate stance, real nice Bruce Lee, like. You can hear him breathing. I was like, oh my gosh, this is my rookie year. This is my rookie year, man. So that was a great story, man. I got tons of stories like that, but that's where I'm at with it. So go ahead, Jared.
For me, in terms of tight ends, I like best 2 overall in terms of careers. Obviously, Tony Gonzalez and Antonio Gates. Tony. I mean, I had to cover him in practice a lot, which was actually good practice because his body, Gates plays similar to how Tony played in that they use a lot of their size, kind of like, first of all, their feet, they're athletic for being their size. So they use their feet to get in certain positions, and then their body just keeps you from getting, to anything, as they, kind of use the basketball in them to, keep you out the paint and make the reception. So I kind of got used to that in practice. And I'll say that, like, Antonio Gates was nowhere near as physical as Tony, right? So, like, Tony was trying to get open, like, no matter what. Like, I mean, cheating, hitting you, your shoulder pad will be off. Like, I'm talking about, but so I came in as a rookie, and that's what I got used to. Like, a dude that runs and is trying to get open, like a receiving tight end, but that's how he plays. That's how he tries to get open. So, you get used to when you start making contact with them dudes, you ain't just going to, push me around and stuff. And then so playing against Gates, that really helped me because I'm going to, the way I play this, I'm going to kind of bring the fight to you. Like, you know what? Like, I ain't gonna back up off of you and be scared and, you know, and kind of let you do what you're gonna do. You're gonna have to earn it. Like, I'm gonna get up on you. And I've been used to somebody, you know, hitting me all down the field and hitting me in my side and all these things, running routes. And he didn't do those things. So that made it, you know, easier, you know, with him. But the same way, you know, that Tony was, first of all, both of them great hands. That thing touch anywhere near him, like they catching it, you know. And then to have the skill of being able to box you out kind of and get their arm free, you know, to get a finger on it or whatever they need, you know, to make that reception. That's what made it tough on me. But my favorite games were playing against Gates. You know, I loved that every year. Like, I got to, you know, it was my job to go with him everywhere and cover him. And I, you know, I love that. That's what I, you know, I look forward to when we got to play, you know, San Diego twice a year, you know. But I'll say this, though, like the dude that used to make me skip reps sometime in one-on-ones is Aaron Hernandez. Man, I'm telling you, I wish that dude at any point of his life would have never got kind of caught up in the way he was living. But my goodness, man, like you didn't want no parts of Aaron Hernandez, like as a tight end. Like I'm talking about, you talk about the best wide receivers you done covered. That dude was that. He was playing tight end. Like I miss a little rep. Like I send the youngster when I was in New England. He was a rookie. I send the you go do that. I'm not doing that. Like I ain't doing that, man. Like that dude was out there. That's why Bill used to run tosses to him. He used to throw tosses to this dude out the backfield. Like, you know what I mean? Like anything to get him with the ball in his hands. Like that dude was like kind of like Brandon Marshall with his footwork after the catch. Kind of how he used to seem like he had eyes in the back of his head the way the dude to be coming in to kill him. It looked like he don't see him and he dodges it and he could just, you know, shake a dude that it looked like he didn't see. All that, but also when he's running routes, you know, at full speed, like that dude was a problem. Like that's by far, like as far as actually staying in front of a guy, that was the hardest dude that I ever lined up on. And that was in practice. You know, like, so I don't know what them dudes was doing when they actually had to cover him in the game because, well, I mean, they wasn't doing nothing. That's why him and Gronk were going crazy.
Yeah,
you know? I understand why.
Interesting, man. That's interesting. I like that. I like you say.
I mean, you talk to anybody that was there playing DB, you know, during that time, and they'll tell you.
So Aaron
was a problem for a corner, and that was a problem for a safety, and the linebacker had no chance.
Wow.
Aaron was tougher to cover than Gronk because Gronk was on the team as well, right?
Yeah, because well, Gronk, you got to remember, I'm 225 pounds, right? So when I play, so for a smaller guy, like, yeah, that maybe like having ball skills, being able to jump and stuff is my game. Like, so I want the ball to kind of go up and it be like a jumping match, even if you are 6'7", or us to be physical and do that type of like. Aaron's different because you're locked in inside the box in a game where you're trying to be more physical with a bigger body, but he's turning it into a receiver versus cornerback thing. You know, you can't, if you're too physical, he's gone. Like, you know what I mean? Like and then you're really, you know, and then if you're not physical enough, he's still 245, 250 pounds and he's going to get a body on you. And now if he hits you and gets into that same route, it was just kind of like it was a lose-lose. It was tough. It was tough. Dudes used to miss the rep against him. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was tough. It was tough. So, you know, and as far as the defense, you were dealing with both of the ends of the spectrum of a tight end, right? The dude that will muscle you and just go over you to catch the ball. And still, Gronk is a great route runner. Don't get me wrong. He understands like where he's supposed to be on the field and what spots to hit out of his breaks and all of that. But on the goal line, he'll just muscle you, push you down and go get it, you know? So you got that. And then you got a guy that'll slant out of press coverage and beat you, you know, in Aaron Hernandez. So you had the two, and that's what made it so hard. And like you saw Bill was searching for that again, trying to get he was trying to add another tight end to do that. But it's tough to find, you know. These newer tight ends coming up though, I think we're gonna get to that. Like, that's what we're getting to, is like, he just was before his time. These tight ends are gonna start doing that, to where you could toss them the ball out the backfield and they'll make a play.
And we're seeing it now. I mean, like you kind of said, JD, it's been kind of trending that way. Like Delaney Walker was kind of a little bit of that. Like you said, they thought John Smith was going to be a lot like Hernandez, and obviously I think he had an injury bug last year, so there's still a chance they can do the with the Hunter Henry and Jonnu. But yeah, no, it's crazy how these athletes are just lining up a tight end now. These not to say that the athletes, they weren't athletes before, JD. Of course.
It's just they just doing different things. Like, what's acceptable at the position is like widening. You know, instead of them saying you got to be built like this, they're saying, well, no, you could be built like that. We'll take that too. And so now they're just expanding the position. It's more people that are available to play the position, and so you're going to see changes anytime you do that. You're going to start to see people doing things at the position that you haven't really seen before because it's more people.
Right. You know how wonderful that have been for me coming out of college to know something like that. Like I remember when I came out, I was like 245, and my coach was like, "Man, you gotta gain weight. Like, you're 252. You gotta be 260, 265 to play in the league." You know what I'm saying? It was always like you got to get more weight on you to block the guys. Like when I'm blocking a Reggie White, or I'm blocking, like I said, Bruce Smith or somebody, Charles Hayden, all those guys, Willie McGinnis, like you got to be, them jokers is, 265. So you better have some lead in your tail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hold on for dear life. If you don't, you're going to get thrown out the club. And then, you get thrown out the club and you're going to get thrown off the team. So that's how it works.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get podcasts.